Just watching. Hopefully this works.
Yay.
Yeah. Come on. Oh, yeah, we got it.
Yay. Hooray. Hi, all.
All right. Let's see here. All right. What are we on? 307?
Is it 307? Is that what we figured?
Oh my god.
308?
Episode 307. I've got my co-host Christy Lee with me today. Thanks for being on the show.
Oh, always happy to be here. Yay.
Well, let's see. We have so much to catch up on.
Yes.
Did you watch Dust Bunny?
Oh, no, I haven't gotten to see Dust Bunny yet.
Okay,
That's next week.
that's
I'm
fine.
definitely watching it next week.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine
really
because
excited.
I watched I was bored and I watched Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and 2.
Yay.
So I started watching this and I'm like, let's see, I want to be like Christy's a cool person and she watched these. I want to be a cool person. So I watched these started watching the first one and my son comes wandering in and he's like a lore master, you know. He knows everything about everything as far as, you know, comic books,
Oh,
video
does he know
games.
the games?
Yeah, he knows
Yeah.
all of that stuff. Yeah, he doesn't play the scary games, but he's interested. So then he just like, you know, deep dives on it. So he's like, "What you watching?" I'm like, "Watching, you know, Five Nights at Freddy's." And he's like, "Oh," and he just sits down, and we end up watching both the movies together. And man, they the first one tries to be a real movie. The second one gives up on that entire premise.
I'm. Do you want to continue or do you want me to comment?
It's up to you. You hop in whenever you're ready. I'm just saying, like, the first one, the theme was loose. The theme was friendship, I guess, and then trying to conquer your past, your traumatic past, which was never really resolved. Um, which itself could be a theme in these two movies because there's so many open, unfinished plot holes.
Totally.
But I it's billed as a horror movie. It's not scary. I would say suspense at best. Not really a thriller.
Mm-hmm.
The special effects are good, you know, there's a lot of build up there. I'm not familiar with the games though. See, so I don't know what's missing and what's fan service.
Right. Right. Yeah. My my son is very familiar with the games.
Okay.
So the first one that we went to see, we all kind of felt the same, which was they did some really cool stuff, kind of translating the game to screen, like using full on animatronics for everything, which was really cool because it wasn't. I mean, they built everything, which was really awesome. They built the whole set, they built the whole store, they built a Freddy's.
Yeah.
So I think that was pretty awesome. And there was some nods to the game here and there in the first movie, but it was kind of just across the board. You know, it was okay. It had some kind of suspenseful moments. It was all right. You know, the story wasn't super big, but it just did so well. It did so well in the box office, and it got so many young people to come out and see the movie because it was the adaptation of the game. That on the second one, now mind you, the screenwriter on both films, who was also one of the executive producers, producers is the guy who actually was one of the creators of the games.
Okay.
So he's been involved in the games. He knows the lore. He understands the story aspect. Not necessarily a screenwriter, but I do think it was beneficial to have him involved.
Mhm.
Do I think he probably been the screenwriter, particularly on the second one? No, because the second one is not very good. However, from my understanding and from sitting in the movie theater, jam packed with 20 kids ever come out of their house, but then came to see this sequel. The second movie was basically like fan service. Like there were so
Yeah.
many things in the second movie they didn't touch on in the first. So in the second movie, they started giving these Easter eggs and showing these characters and bringing to life these things that are from the game that everybody in the audience was extremely excited about. Plus all the cameos from the YouTubers that were in the movies.
Yeah, my son was
Do I
mentioning the YouTubers as well, and that was a big deal for him.
Yeah. But overall, do I feel like it was a, hey, this movie made so much money on the first one. Let's go ahead and do the sequel, which is fine. And it's probably going to still make a lot of money. And we're going to do a third one because it's definitely going to still make a lot of money because kids are going to come out and go see it. They want to see the stuff from the games, but they don't really care about seeing an actual story. They just want to see the game
story.
stuff.
I mean,
there's no story.
And that, like, I'm happy for the guy. He knows his audience and he serves it up to them on a platter. But the storyteller in me is like worried. Like,
Sure.
I see something like this, and I mean the ratings are really bad, but obviously that's not a surprise. But there's nothing there. I mean, it reminds me of the low budget splatter films where there's no story at all. It's just like, let's watch people get ripped in half, and I understand that, but it's built on a bigger scale, the larger budget, and
for sure.
I have my see, growing up in the 80s, Freddy Krueger, Jason, Michael Myers, these are killers. Chucky, killer robot doll. So I can't imagine a world where I'm watching a movie and we build a fort with the killers and play with them. Do you know what I mean? Because that's in the movie. I asked my son, "Is this in the game? Do you build a fort with killer robots?" And he goes, "No, Dad, that's a movie thing." And I'm like, "What's going on? I don't understand." And he's like, "Well, the kids were killed and their bodies were put in the robots and their souls are in the robots." But I'm like, "But these kids are killing people, like grown-ups, right? But they're not being," because I'm like, so it's a very convoluted plot. We get there eventually, but I keep looking over to him like, this is supposed to be a horror movie, right? It's supposed to be scary. He's like, yeah. I'm not seeing it.
No. No, I didn't. Yeah, I mean, honestly, the most enjoyable thing for us, particularly when we went to see the second one, was the fact that the theater was packed and that there were so many excited people. Is it
so
worrisome?
Here?
Sure, it's worrisome. But where are we right now? Like, is this the line? Like, are we really at that line? Are we at that cliff where this is what's going to be kind of major motion picture moving forward? Is how do we get so many people into the theater? But really, it's not necessarily going to be story driven. It's going to be, how do we bring these IPs and these, games and things to life, because that's what draws the box office dollars. And then the storytelling will be left to like other, independent filmmakers or whatever. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's where we are. And seeing this, I was like, whoa, because I've seen movies that are just concept heavy, right? And they kind of get lost, and you can see they're trying to figure something out. They never just got there, so they just threw more money at it, and they had bigger action scenes that turned a spectacle. I'm watching a film in the second one that is it's on purpose. Like, it could have been a series of Five Nights at Freddy's sketches because it's so muddied. I mean, I'm watching
Yeah.
it like I went to I whipped out the 7 basic plots because that's how that's how hard I was trying to figure out what this movie is trying to say. Just like, so I'm looking at the 7 basic plots like, okay, is it overcoming the monster? Is it escape from death? Is it the quest? Is it the voyage and return? You know, like I'm trying to figure out where is, and it's everything, you know?
It's
And it's nothing. It's hit the it's hit the ether with this thing. So,
oh, yeah.
you know, it it makes its own rules and breaks them, which is interesting to see in a movie, uh, especially with the doll possession. So you get the doll possession, and then you get the doll possesses a girl, but kills the girl to possess the girl. But then at the end of the movie, she doesn't kill the girl to possess the girl. So like you start creating these snake eating itself type of rule breaking, which pulls you out of the story. And then I'm spoiling this, guys. I really don't care at this point. The sequel has the new robots, the new killer robots, right?
Mhm.
And they keep teasing the old killer robots that are gone. And my son looks over to me, ever the screenwriter, and he goes, "I mean, they're not gonna do it, are they?" And I'm like, "I think they are." He's like, "They're gonna have the old robots kill the new robots." And I'm like, "Son, I mean, I think we're at some Kong versus Godzilla stuff here." And and then sure enough, you know, the old robots come in and kill the new robots, and that's, you
Mhm.
know, I mean, my son, so, "Oh, we got a Deus Ex Machina moment now?" I'm like, "I know, it's just completely unearned." You know what I
Isn't
mean? Like,
that
if
like the best though that your son is like pointing that stuff out? It's so
oh,
great.
yeah, man, you know, he's just, you know, the apple doesn't far fall fall far, and, man, it was like watching madness, but, hey, I'm
Oh, yeah.
glad people love it, and the kids love it, and the guy is successful, and, uh, the most abrupt ending I've seen in a movie in a long time.
Oh, for
But
sure.
again, it makes me wonder, like, am I out of touch? You know? Is like, if this is, do I need to rethink everything I know because this is where the market is now?
I that's such a great question because I was on a film panel last Saturday at a film fair here happening in town, and it was a group of local filmmakers, and that kind of thought process came up. We were talking about the idea of, you know, the diminishing of movie theaters and kind of what
Yeah.
the future holds and what the future looks like. And you know, the world is the oyster for the independent filmmaker who can make their own stuff and kind of put it out and get your stuff out there.
Yeah.
um and everybody was kind of celebrating, you know, success stories and things like, well, you know, we can still have hope because there's things like A24 or Neon who are doing, you know, trying to kind of keep alive that really strong, you know,
Yeah.
storytelling kind of art
Story
house thing,
first.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I wanted to be very, very realistic with everybody in the room. And I jumped in and I said, I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because, and this goes along the lines of what's happening with the Netflix, you know, Warner Brothers Paramount thing, which is the industry is kind of at a, you know, at a fork in the road where there's two
Yeah.
paths you go, and one of those paths is going to be the data driven and the numbers driven pathway.
Yeah.
So you're either going to go into this industry as a writer or a creative and know that, you know, you want to kind of be on the bigger scale and you want to write or do bigger things. Well, that's probably going to be data driven. That's not going to be story driven anymore. It's not going to be creative anymore. It is going to be, do you hit all the beats on this sheet? Do you hit all the data points on this sheet? You know, can
Yeah.
we make a certain amount of money on you know, in the box office in the first 2 weeks because we know A, B, and C? And there's that route. Like that route is there, or you're going to go in a different direction. And I think they're both going to, I don't want to say coexist, but they're both going to be where we are for a while. So this is one of those examples where the studio was like, we know it's a pretty good hit. We know it's a pretty good box office
Yeah.
draw. we may get people into the theater? How do we have some big hit releases this year? Well, we're going to write this thing and do this sequel for this movie that made a lot of money. I mean, story, who cares? Be gone. Who cares? So I don't know. I don't know if it's like a let's throw up our hands and give up because this is what the world has come to. I do feel like it is.
We're not giving
something. Yeah, we're not.
It's
we're
not giving up. I'm not giving up.
Throwing off the towel here or whatever, but
it's
yeah.
eye-opening. It's a little disheartening. It gave me a moment to really like check in with myself and think, okay, where am I at? I don't want to be that old out of touch screenwriter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes me like, okay, is this a generational thing? So it just makes me start to really look deeper into myself and then at the industry and be like, okay, this is an avenue, but this doesn't have to be the avenue.
For sure.
And I know Blumhouse was desperate for another hit because they struggled so much with Megan 2. So I'm sure at this point they're like, let's just double down on FNAF, give the kids what they want, see what happens.
Yeah.
And who needs endings? Who needs an ending? We don't need endings. Don't give it an ending. Let's not resolve.
Movie.
Let's not resolve anything.
That's not a complete story. It's
Imagine Titanic ended right when Rose got on the door in the water, and then it was like credits.
Yeah. What happened?
Wait, hold on a second. You know what I mean? Like, I can't. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be that way, but
Jeffrey, it was like when the ship was going down and we didn't even see it.
It was just like, yeah, and then it was like, look out for the sequel of the Titanic. People on doors and water. All right, so let's talk about the industry. So Netflix gave another offer to Warner Brothers. They upped it to $72 billion, ladies and gentlemen. That's how much from their initial $40 bid. So they're trying to knock out Paramount. Here's why. I got numbers, dude. So here's why Netflix could do that. Their fourth quarter came in, okay, Christy. They made $12 billion in revenue. That's up 17.6%. They had an increase in 29% growth. 325 million paid subs. That's up from 301. A lot of that came from the Stranger Things finale with 120 million views. And their newest and biggest hit. Would you like to guess what their biggest hit is of anything on Netflix?
K-pop Demon Hunters.
You freaking nailed it, bro. Circle gets the square. That's so impressive. 482 million views. So they aren't crushing the streaming. They are the streaming at this point.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to watch K-pop Demon Hunters. I hope it has an ending. So
it does. It's good.
Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Well, and here's the thing too. Netflix just, scooped up some Academy Award nominations, Frankenstein being one of the big ones. And so,
that was
they're in the ballpark of, hey, we can do the Stranger Things stuff, we can do the human stuff, and then we can have Oscar-winning movies. We have it all.
If you want the exact opposite of Five Nights at Freddy's 2, it would be Del Toro's Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein.
Right?
Yeah. So I think we nailed that. Did you happen to run into any bad screenwriting advice for me?
I didn't this week. No. Do you have any for me?
I want to spill some tea.
Ooh, tea. I love the tea. All right, hold on. Let me get my cup. Okay, I'm ready.
I watched the Stranger Things documentary because I really wanted to know. Yeah, did you happen to catch it?
I didn't, but I want you to tell me anyway.
I didn't see anything because we talked about this last week about the fact that they think one of the Duffers brothers' wives was a ghostwriter, and that he was using ChatGPT and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
and all of these things supposedly came from the documentary. And we would follow up. I didn't see anything on the documentary about ChatGPT. I mean, they showed his laptop. I never saw it as one of the tabs.
Hmm.
So
Where
I
did
don't
that
see
come
any
from
of
then?
that. Yeah, I have no idea where that came from because I'm watching the show. I don't see anything on here. Even the director came to his defense and said, it was open, but that doesn't mean he was using it to write it. I can't say anything about his ex-wife being a ghostwriter because like they were filming the entire season without the final episode written. It was
Oh, okay.
crazy. Like
Interesting.
they
All
were
right.
filming, and then at the end of the day filming, they were sitting down and being like, "Okay, so what do we want to do with the finale?" Like they did not know where to go at all.
No
And
way.
they're going through shooting days. So if you're shooting a TV show, imagine how exhausting that is because you're working at least 12, 14 hours, right? And then you're
Yeah. And then
spending
you
the
still have to
rest
worry about.
outside of
Yeah.
sleep, you're trying to write the finale. Of course it's going to be a hot mess.
Oh,
Of
hands
course it
down.
is. And then
Yeah.
watching them argue, you gotta watch this, Christy. Watching them argue over even what the show is about was interesting because you can watch them kind of struggle with them saying what the show is about, which is why they didn't want to kill them because one of the brothers was like, "Well, I really don't think it's about the journey and it's about friendship and it's about the journey." And so I'm like, okay, so if you're looking at this like it's a journey of friends, then yeah, you're not going to want to kill anybody. But then everybody else is like, we have to kill people, and we have to have monsters in the end, even though they didn't have monsters in the end. But
Yeah.
if
Mhm.
you really watch this documentary, you see how much work they put into the mid-season. They call it the Mac 7. It's where Vecna shows up for the first time and Will's powers are revealed. If you see how much they put into that compared to the finale, you can see why the finale didn't work. Because
Mm.
the mid confrontation mid-season felt like a finale because it was
Oh,
so
see,
big and it was
that's
so
terrible. If
powerful.
you, that's terrible because if you, I mean, you just have to know where you're going with the end before you
Yeah,
even start
they didn't know.
filming. Like that's probably where it fell apart because you
Yeah,
get to that midpoint and you have what feels like a finale. So then you're trying to
yeah,
beat yourself. You're trying to be like,
yeah.
okay, now we need to make it bigger than that. Well, how do you
Yeah, because it
if
was
the whole arc
amazing,
of it
right?
is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the mid-season was essentially 5 seasons coming to a head with this big
Mhm.
reveal, and then
Yeah.
they get there, and you're like, "Oh," and then you get to the finale, and you're like, "What's happening? Why
Yeah.
is this over in 5 minutes?" You know what I mean? So,
Man,
yeah, that's why it didn't
that's
work.
interesting.
They didn't know where they were going, and then they were like they didn't wanna kill people. It's like, "Kill everybody off. Have a good ending." Alright,
Well, just even the fact that they don't even know what their show what their show
yeah.
is about.
Well, they were struggling with it, like watching them try and like I know that they feel it, like they feel what it's about in their heart. I know that, but when they're trying to
Mhm.
express it, they're struggling to express it, and I think that's when you start running into issues when you start trying to finish the thing. So,
Yeah,
all right,
yeah. No.
we have some questions here.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, let's see. All right, so this is interesting. Blessed Turner asks, is it okay to handwrite your first couple of drafts, or should I type them? I think that's a great question. It really depends
Yeah.
on what you're interested in. Quentin Tarantino handwrites his scripts, and then transfers them and a computer that he writes it on is offline or something. He's very paranoid about it.
Oh,
So it's
well,
really personal choice. I mean, Christopher Nolan writes his scripts on, I want to say it's red paper or something like that, so that they can't be photocopied.
oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so it's very interesting. So yeah, that's a personal choice. What about you? You ever
Yeah.
handwrite a script?
Oh, years and years and years ago. I'm more so a like jot down my notes and kind of outline by hand, just
Okay.
because it's in my mind and I just want to kind of get it out. And so writing for me is a little bit like cathartic in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just a personal choice of how you kind of feel and how you approach it, and it's something that you write it out, and then as you go to kind of transcribe and put it onto text onto the computer, you might come across some things or run into things that in your writing process you didn't catch, but then as you type it out, it's a little bit different. So yeah, it's just your personal kind of preference.
Oh, we've got a new screenwriter set here. He says he's working on some log lines and some short stories. He wants to start building them into a full script and eventually pitch. And he has any suggestions? Do you have any tips for him?
Suggestions on like how he approaches pitching or what he should do.
Well, I wouldn't. I mean, he wants to pitch, but if you were to ask me, if you're just starting out working on log lines and converting short stories into scripts, you're not even ready to pitch, right? You
No,
don't even have
yeah.
a story yet. But
Mm-mm.
do you have any tips on converting log lines and building them out into a feature?
Yeah, I mean, if you're converting short, it sounds like short stories, correct? If you're kind
Yeah.
of doing an adaptation of short story, that's something you really want to kind of focus on in terms of really being stringent about fleshing out a full story. Because a short story, uh, while it still has a beginning, middle, and end, like there's a lot more you're going to have to do if you're kind of fleshing it out to a feature. You're talking A plots, B plots, lots of subtext that you kind of have to work through. So I would just kind of pick one of the stories that you really want to do that like speaks to you the most, and start with that one first, and flesh that one out into kind of the full feature outline and approach there, and then start to work on a log line. Because you might have a log line right now that you think is like this is the log line for this short story, might not end up being the same log line when you do adapt that into a bear script.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to be building in a theme there so we know what we're trying to say with that short story and then expanding that with extra, subplots and character development so that we actually can get to, that 80 to 90 page length.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you get a lot of people talking in one room, getting up, walking to the next room, and talking some more because we don't have a plot.
Right. Yeah, 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 for sure.
Is there anything else going on?
No, not that I can think of. I mean, it's just there's so many cool movies getting ready to come out and lots of
Dude,
things happening now that the Oscar nominations have been announced. So there's just a lot going on.
how am I finding out now that there's a He-Man movie coming out? I didn't know this.
A what?
A He-Man movie.
You didn't know they were working on Masters of the Universe?
I had no idea. I watched a trailer yesterday and the
Yeah.
spark inside of me grew alive from my childhood
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
blown away.
Yeah. No, I when they made that casting decision for He-Man, Nicholas Gal I can't pronounce his last name very well. There was again a lot of murmur about like, is he the right choice? Is this going to be another like when they said Robert Pattinson was going to be the next new Batman? But I feel like it was something I read an interview where he was super stoked because it's like a hero character for him, and so he was very excited to get that cast. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I
and Jared
saw.
Leto is Skeletor, is my understanding.
Yeah, and people will complain about him, of course, because he can't get away from that. Here's my thing. Okay, I here's an unsolicited hot take on Jared Leto. He's not a bad actor. I'm
No, he's a
sorry.
good
I don't
actor.
think you.
He's good.
Just like Nicolas Cage isn't a bad actor, they have to have a director that can rein them in. If you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna let
For
Jared
sure.
Leto act like a crazy man on set, he's gonna act like a crazy man on set.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna get.
But
Yeah.
he is a good actor. People complained
Mhm.
about Tron Ares. I like Tron Ares. I had no problem with Tron Ares. I thought it was fun. Um, it had an ending, and people hated it. People hated it. I was waiting to see if you caught that, and people hated him as the character in the movie. He played it fine. His problem is that he's being accused of having a cult, like being the head of a cult. So like that's
Yeah.
his problem, and that's leaking into his work, understandably so. So when people are like, oh, he's a
Sure.
terrible
Yeah.
actor, I'm like, I mean, he's not, but he's
really, yeah.
he's got some issues right now. So
yeah, and when he dives into a role, he dives into a role. And so, I mean, he's an Oscar winner. Like, people seem to forget he's won an Academy Award.
Yeah, the guy
when he dives into a role, he dives into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, he's great at what he does. But
Yeah.
you know, there's some issues going on there, which I have no idea. It sounds wild. Like the more I've learned about that, is it's intense. All right. Well, you want to get on next week and do this?
Yeah, let's meet again next week.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you in a week.
Bye.
All right. So 1 second.